Dear Diary, since that mammoth come from behind win at the Camp Nou against Barcelona, we have carried on our momentum with 2 comfortable wins over Manchester City and Norwich in the Premier League. That now means we are joint with Liverpool on points, but of those 2 crucial games in hand on them. And on the subject of the Reds, we are taking them on twice over the next week in the Champions League semis. It's fair to say they have been our biggest rivals since I joined Arsenal, and the head-to-head record against Klopp isn't flash either. Still, we did get one over them in the Community Shield at the start of the season, so hopefully that's something we can use to our advantage in a situation like this. Albeit, we might be knackered by the time we get home for the second leg, with 3 Premier League games before then. Seriously, who books this shit? Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 105 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Arsenal. I hope you are doing well and come out today a Champions League semi-final against Liverpool, the 2 best teams in England, taking each other on for a spot in a European final. So if you are looking forward to this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and have been enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but hopefully that intro caught you guys up on the 2 games that we have played in the Prem since yesterday's episode, the quarterfinal of the Champions League against Barcelona. What a tie that was. If you missed it, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. 2 quite nice wins since then, especially away from home 4-0 over Manchester City. Of course, they are in the other semi-final taking on Bayern Munich, who did beat us last season in the league phase, albeit this season we do have a much stronger team, but it does mean now in the Premier League we are joint on points with Liverpool, but still with those 2 games in hand, albeit it does look like we're going to play those 2 games in hand in our upcoming run. 3 games in this week in between the first leg and the second leg, albeit against teams you would expect us to beat, but it does mean we are going to be very tired going into that second leg at the Emirates. So hopefully we can actually do a decent job here at Anfield for this first leg against a Liverpool team who, as you would have also seen through that intro, in terms of past meetings, we don't have a very good record against since we have joined Arsenal. Only 1 win earlier this season right at the start in the Community Shield, and apart from that, in the Premier League each season, a 1-1 draw at the Emirates, followed up by a 2-1 loss at Anfield. So hopefully we can perform more like we did in the Community Shield, and not like we have done in the Premier League in those matchups. We have taken on Jurgen Klopp's men, but here they are playing a 4-3-3. It is a very good Liverpool squad. They have pushed us right to the limit each season in the Premier League that we have been at Arsenal so far, albeit it does look like we are going to come out on top both times, but so far, as you saw in those head-to-head matches, that has not been the case. Hopefully we can take away some sort of parity from this first leg at Anfield, and it might give us a chance to pick up a win in that second leg at the Emirates, and hopefully we can sneak our way through to a Champions League final. Of course, an injury update before this one. Of course, Martin Odegaard did break his leg in yesterday's episode in that 3-2 win over Barcelona. That is our only injury concern, but we do have some tired players, so it does mean over the course of today's episode we are going to have to rotate whenever we can, just to try and make sure our best players are available and we don't pick up too many more injuries. That one does mean Fabio Vieira will be our starting cam for the rest of the season, and Hike Sterling his backup in an ideal situation, but hopefully we can get a decent result here from Anfield to take to that second leg at the Emirates, and we'll come back shortly for the first leg of this Champions League semi-final. And here are the team sheets for this first leg from Anfield. There are Liverpool. It almost looks like a 4-1-4-1, but I do suspect that might still be a 4-3-3, might just a little bit different on the Champions League graphic, but there's a very good Liverpool team who have had the wood over us. For us, Yukubu over Bumba at centre-back because he's tired. Also Sterling over Vieira in the cam role, and as per somewhat usual, Trincao over a very injury-prone Martinelli, but those are our 3 changes to our usual first choice 11. Hopefully at Anfield we can come away, as I said, with some sort of parity taken to that second leg back at the Emirates. And it's only taken 4 minutes of the first highlight of this one. Of course, we are away today in the black. We somehow keep the ball here down this left-hand side. Balde plays that one to Trincao. Edge of the box, somehow picks out Hike Sterling, near post. What an impact from those two players who ideally would not be starting in this game, but Hike Sterling in a perfect spot there inside the inner box. And we grab an early lead here at Anfield, and that might be exactly the confidence boost that we need. Wonderful ball from Trincao and Sterling. It's really a simple tap-in, and only 5 minutes in, we grab a 1-0 lead. And around 20 minutes into this one, we get the next highlight here of this first leg of the Champions League semi-final off the back of taking that early 1-0 lead. Now, Vlahovic, interesting ball there, far post. It does fall to Doig there, and Liverpool do keep this ball, albeit have to play that one all the way back to Ibanez. Good work there though from Saka, and we might get a chance there on the counter-attack, albeit we just clear that one, and Liverpool do get a chance here to do something really for the first time in this game. Asprilla, nice header back there for Dure. Good chance for Vlahovic, but thankfully Ramsdale reads that one well. We do roll the ball out safely. Still 1-0 up, about halfway through the first half. And that was it for the first half of this Champions League semi-final from Anfield. As you can tell by the stats, it's been a very even game. Everything quite similar, including XG, but thankfully our chance a little bit better and well taken by Sterling. So it does mean we go into the sheds with a 1-0 lead. And I would take that result right now, going back to the Emirates, where so far we have not lost to Liverpool since we have taken over at Arsenal. So hopefully that does continue and we can hold on here for our first win at Anfield. I think everyone out there doing a decent job so far, so no substitutions needed. We'll get back underway with that 1-0 lead. And 10 minutes into the second half, the first highlight here is a free kick to Liverpool. They take it short through their centre-backs, but do start to camp their way inside our half, albeit play that one back to their goalkeeper in Swanson. Now, Casadei, a player we did try and sign back at Cardiff, but he did choose Bayern Munich over us. I think it was Bayern Munich or Juventus. Nonetheless, these days, he is at Liverpool. Now, Doig starts to make some headway down that left-hand side, albeit poor pass there from Liverpool. Does give the ball away. Sterling again with some good work. Now, Kylian Mbappe just holds things up. Sterling on the ball yet again. Just finds Balde down that left-hand side. We do well to keep it there. Nice ball over for Trincao. Tries to loop the goalkeeper. Ibanez, though, with a big clearance. We nearly go 2-0 up, but still 1-0 at the hour mark. And in fact, right off the back of that previous highlight, Trincao is down to a red heart, so we'll make our first substitution. Martinelli will come on for him with a half hour left. And only a few minutes off the back of that first substitution, we do have a throw in here down this right-hand side. Cassie plays that one to Saka and will get this back. Starts to go infield, picks out Saliba. Now Pere does well there to keep the ball, I was about to say, but does give it away. And Asprilla starts to come forward here for Liverpool. Butterina back to Todibo, and hopefully we can hold on to our lead in the remaining 25 minutes. Good work there from Martinelli tracking back to get that ball back for us. Now Mbappe to Saka. Cassie in lots of space here down this right-hand side. Does well to keep it there as the defender did recover well. Now Saka inside the box. It's a good save. It falls to Kylian Mbappe. A simple tap-in, and I think he was onside. We could be taking potentially a 2-0 lead back to the Emirates, and that would be well above expectations indeed. He was onside. Mbappe, 41st goal of the season. I do believe these days he has broken the club record previously held by Thierry Henry. That one's a bit fortunate, but we will take it. 2-0 with 25 minutes left. And only a few minutes off the back of that goal, yet again we just checked on some player fitness, and Saka these days down to a red heart, so Fabio Carvalho will come on for him off the back of taking that 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
And with 15 minutes left to go in this game, unfortunately there could be another serious injury, yet again a potential lower leg injury, hopefully not as serious for Balde as it was yesterday for Odegaard, but obviously that means that Vaskovic will come on for him. We do also have a right back in Cassie down to a red heart. Singo can come on for him. Also Mbappe down to a red heart as our last stoppage. So we'll make these last few substitutions. Barea can come on up front, and hopefully we can hold on here to our 2-0 lead with those 15 minutes left. And just about to end injury time in this one. It's been a pretty good performance, even though the stats have been quite even throughout this one. Now into the 5th of the 5 minutes of injury time. It's gone over a little bit, but thankfully that is full time. that is probably the most comfortable win we've had so far in the knockouts of the Champions League. Even Aston Villa did give us a scare early on in that round of 16. That is a very good win away from home at Anfield, especially with our record there against Liverpool so far in the Premier League. And that is a very nice buffer to be taking back to the Emirates for the second leg of this one. Maybe dropping that defensive line like we did against Barcelona off the back of that poor start yesterday is going to help us out against some of these teams who we have struggled against in the past. And that is a very good result, as I said, to take back to the Emirates. We'll just come back shortly, check in on that injury to Balde. And while it is a major one, I don't think it's going to keep him out for too long. And he should actually be back for the final if we can make it that far. He has a pulled calf muscle. We'll send him to the physio. We'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks, but certainly not as bad as the broken leg for Ødegaard in yesterday's episode. But as I said, that is a big result in that first leg from Anfield. A 2-0 win to take back to the Emirates for the second leg, but before then, we have 3 Premier League games to get through. And we are back on the day of the second leg at the Emirates against Liverpool in the Champions League semi-finals. As I said, we played 3 games in the Premier League in between now and then. Great scheduling. I knew something like this would happen off the back of that really weird beer patch that we did have in between the end of the league phase and the start of the round of 16, but thankfully, we did still manage to do a decent job in those last 3 games. 2 wins at home, very comfortable. 4-0 over Watford, 2-0 over Leeds United. As you can see, quite a bit of rotation happening in amongst those games. We did drop points away at Brentford. Still not a bad result. Brentford have actually won a European trophy in this save. Interesting too to see Kieran Tierney getting sent off late, the first time that we have played against him since we did sell him back in the January transfer window, but 7 points from those 3 games, and it does mean we are 6 points clear of Liverpool, having now not got any games in hand, but with only 3 games left in the season, we could potentially wrap up the title in our next match day, albeit not an easy game that we have, as we take on Newcastle, but also Liverpool, needing to win to keep their hopes alive. They take on West Ham away from home, and as we know, that is not an easy task. Only 1 or 2 teams in the Premier League to beat us this season, and it was over at the London Stadium. So it does look like we are on the verge of winning the Premier League title for the 2nd straight season. Can we also pick up the Champions League? You would hope so off the back of that 2-0 win in the first leg. And also, both legs from the other semi-final has been played between Manchester City and Bayern Munich. It was a high-scoring affair, but Manchester City have made their way through to the Champions League final 7-4 on aggregate over Bayern Munich. Truth be told, I think that's a better final for us so far. A record against Manchester City in this save since Sergio has taken over, the former Arsenal manager, has been very good. I don't even think we've lost to them so far. That could, of course, change in something like a Champions League final, because he has won one of those and we have not yet, but definitely would have preferred to play Manchester City over Bayern Munich. So I will take that as long as we can hold on to this 2-0 lead over Liverpool. Of course, just those injuries to Ødegaard and to Balde going in to this second leg. So hopefully we can hold on here to our 2-0 lead, albeit are going to have to rest a few more players than the first leg due to all those Premier League games that we did just have to get through. But hopefully we can beat Liverpool, make a Champions League final, and then kick on and wrap up the Premier League. But we'll come back shortly with team sheets for the second leg with that nice 2-0 advantage after the ANFIELD meeting. And here are the team sheets for the second leg with that 2-0 lead here at the Emirates. We've made quite a few changes from the first leg. Singo's at right back, Bambara back in at centre back alongside Saliba. Vaskovic is in there for the injured Balde. Also, Vieira's the cam. We've got Martinelli at left wing this time, but also Barreira is a striker. Kylian Mbappe is very injury prone on a very heavy workload at the moment. Hopefully with that 2-goal lead, this is a game where we can just rest him a little bit. So quite a few changes from that first leg, but still it's a pretty good team. Liverpool wearing green. I know for a fact this season that usually means they don't play very well, at least in real life. Hopefully the same applies here and we can make our way through to a Champions League final. And just shy of the 15-minute mark, we get our first highlight here of the second leg. It is a free kick in our favour down that right-hand side inside the opposition half. Saka nearly gets in behind there, but good slide tackle. Dure clears it, albeit Vaskovic now with the ball finds Martinelli has scored from that spot previously in the Champions League this season. That one, though, goes over the bar. Will get him to ease off tackles. Still 0-0, 15 minutes into the second leg, but 2-0 up on aggregate. And that was the only highlight of the first half, which will do us just fine with that 2-0 lead from Anfield. As you can tell by the stats, though, we have certainly been the better team in this one, so hopefully that does continue. Maybe we can just grab one more goal to hopefully put this one to bed and make our way through to a final against Manchester City. We're going to make a few changes, though, at half-time. Both our wingers, Saka on a poor rating, and also Martinelli on that yellow card. So Carvalho and Trincao will come on for them respectively, and we'll get things back underway. 2-0 up on aggregate with only 45 minutes left in this Champions League semi-final. And just shy of the hour mark, we eventually get one more highlight in this game, and yet again it is potentially in our favour of throwing down that left-hand side. Bumba will find Saliba as we do play that one back towards the back a little bit more. Carvalho on the ball yet again on retreat, but now Singo gets in behind. Big chance for Barea. First shot comes off the post. Somehow Liverpool defender beats him to the follow-up. Big chance there for our Spanish striker, but unfortunately Liverpool do quite well to keep that one from going in the back of the net, and still 0-0 on the day, but 2 goals up with a half hour left in the tie. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight, now we have a corner. So far in the second leg we are well and truly on top. Has probably been the case for most of this tie based on the highlights that we have seen, but Harvey Elliott off the bench starts to get going forward here for Liverpool. Interesting tackle there from his former teammate in Fabio Carvalho. Liverpool do keep the ball though. Jones is inside the box. Vlahovic with a shot. Thankfully, we do block it. We clear that one away. They do still have the ball here in a dangerous area, but yet again a block shot. Liverpool still keep the ball. We eventually clear our lines down that right-hand side, and thankfully, we are still up by 2-0. Just about to enter the last 20 minutes, and while we are here, we might make some substitutions with quite a few players down to red hearts, so I think we'll just take those ones off. Singo can come off for Lamine Kassi, also Yakubu for Vaskovic, and Moise Pradey, the other one down to a red heart. Charlie Patino can come on for him. There'll be all our subs used. Still up by 2 goals with 20 minutes left in the semi. And just entering the last 15 minutes of this game, yet again Liverpool do have the ball, but good interception there from Bumba, stepping out of the line, and a good chance here for us on the counter-attack. Carvalho nearly gets in behind the Liverpool defence, just hovers there right on the edge of the box, plays that one back to Coop Miners. Tight angle, but cuts inside, picks out the top left corner, and that will surely seal our place in the Champions League final. It might be. Back-to-back wins over Liverpool, something we have not done just once yet in the Premier League since we have taken over here, but in the Champions League, we are doing one on them here. 3-0 on aggregate, only 15 minutes left. Surely that is the goal that sends us to a final against Manchester City. And we are inside the last 5 minutes of this one. It does look like we are going to make a Champions League final against the former Arsenal manager in Sergio Conceição. Good chance here for Barea, but Swanson just gets in the way. Trincao with a shot from a very tight angle is blocked by a Liverpool defender, but we do have a corner, so it does mean we can waste a little bit more time. Late in this one, we go far post, but Liverpool do clear that one away. In fact, there's a foul there on Justin from Fabio Vieira, but we start to inch our way towards full time in this game today. We've actually been a bit more dominant than we were in that first leg, but thankfully still up by a goal. It has meant that Liverpool haven't really had a chance to get back in this tie. Decent shot there from Kasade, but that one does just go over the bar, brushes the side netting, and we've only got 3 minutes of added time. In the end, pretty comfortable win over both leagues, but certainly a little bit tougher, I suspect, than what we were shown in those highlights, especially that first leg. That was quite an even game. Even this one, Liverpool had quite a few shots, but just never hit the target. We did over both legs a bit more than they did, and having some good strikers and attackers, I think, has helped us just a little bit more, a bit cooler under pressure potentially than Liverpool were, and we pick up a 1-0 win in the second leg, 3-0 on aggregate, and it does mean that tomorrow we have a Champions League final against Manchester City, a team who so far is completely opposite to Liverpool, a team we have a very good record against. Hopefully that continues off the back of beating Liverpool 3-0 in the Champions League semis. So a very good win there over Liverpool in both legs of that Champions League semi-final. Somewhat unexpected. I thought that would be a really tough time for us off the back of those results that we did have against them in the Premier League so far, since we have taken over at Arsenal, but thankfully 2 wins, and we are going through to a Champions League final over Manchester City, also qualify for a FIFA Club World Cup, albeit that is not until 2033, so we'll see if we are actually going to play that one during the course of the save. It will depend on whether or not we do win the Champions League final in tomorrow's episode, because with a holiday coming up, it does feel like if we win the Champions League, that might be a good time to end the save and we can get stuck into a new one once we do get back, but only if we beat Manchester City. And to be fair, our record against those guys so far in this save is very, very good, so hopefully that does continue. Based on Premier League position, we should be beating them because they are in 5th on the table. Of course, we are right on the verge of becoming champions, albeit some very good players in that City team. Erling Haaland, also Alfred, the former attacking midfielder from Bayern Munich, these days is at Manchester City. He was a player I would have quite liked. Maybe they'll be tougher with him in their team than when we have played them in the past, but still based on recent record against these guys, that is a game that we might go into as the favourites. Hopefully we can pick up the Champions League in tomorrow's episode, because no one likes to see Man City winning anything in Europe, including their own players in real life. But that will do it for today's episode. As I said, really good win there over Liverpool, and hopefully that injury to Balde, I think he should be back in time for the Champions League final. Indeed he should, only out for 4 to 9 more days. But if you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, as I said, could be the last episode of the series, or if we do pick up a win in that Champions League final. Also, by then, we should have wrapped up the Premier League title and also do the end of season review as well. And if we do pick up that Champions League, might go back and look at how some of our former clubs are doing, in particular those ones in Northern Ireland from way back when in this save. But we'll come back tomorrow for that big Champions League final against Manchester City. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.